Would you like to buy Meghan's sweaty dress? Paula?
No.
What do you mean? You wouldn't be joining the ranks of the obsessives, bidding up the price of Meghan's sweaty dress on eBay?
Listen, I know where you're going, but I also don't want to buy Madonna's toilet seat. Because, and by the way, by that I mean wherever Madonna goes on tour, she travels with her own toilet seat because she's paranoid that somebody will steal her toilet seat and put it on eBay, kind of like somebody did once with Britney Spears's bubblegum.
And Bono's hat for the Irish amongst us, famously. Now, Bono's hat is an iconic symbol of everything that U2 stands for, everything that U2 means, probably one of the greatest Irish bands of all time. I don't know if Meghan's green dress falls into that category. Do you, Paula?
Well, not just Meghan's green dress, her Chanel dress, her Aqua Zura shoes, her fill in the blanks of other things that she may have walked off of sets with just because she's terrified that somebody somewhere will resell it so that somebody can say they're wearing Meghan's dress, when actually what they could do is just go online and type in Galvan Ushuaia dress and buy their own.
Now, for those of you who are very, very confused, I'm going to catch you up with the news. So Paula, as you may notice, is very, very overexcited today, and she is here basically for a victory lap. And I must warn you, we do not have Ben, the producer. So this is almost certainly going to be a mishmash of terrible images, jolty streaming, etc., etc. So you'll have to forgive us. But we had to get Paula here. And the reason is that Paula was the first person to write about this story in her NewsNation column. And the story that she wrote about was that Meghan has developed, shall we say, a habit of keeping clothes from shoots. It was then picked up by Page Six, which frankly just rewrote Paula's story. And in slightly sloppy fashion, I would argue, perhaps not to be too cruel to our alma mater. Is it alma mater or alma mater? I never know.
Alma mater.
Alma mater. Me and Paula both worked at Page Six. And as a result of this, I will just read you what I have posted on my Substack to catch you up to speed. The Duchess of Sussex's team have angrily denied a story that she stole clothes from a fashion shoot. However, and this is me writing, they appear to have inadvertently confirmed in the process that Meghan does take fashion freebies, in contrast to the working royal family, who say they never accept them. Sources told the Royalist that not being allowed to keep free clothes was cited as an irritation for Meghan when she was a working royal. And then I credit Paula for first uncovering this story and say how exciting we are that she's going to be here, and say how overexcited she's going to be, which I think she will. But now, this is where it gets really weird. In the kind of utterly bizarre coda to the story that, frankly, we have come to expect from Meghan's camp, sources justified her keeping a green gown from a 2022 variety shoot, which she then wore again in the Netflix trailer that we saw the other day, by suggesting she did so to prevent insiders on the shoot from illicitly selling it on resale channels to memorabilia hunters. And the source said this was standard practice, a claim, I have to say, that has been roundly derided by fashion insiders that I spoke to. And I do know some quite, I used to work at a lot of those magazines, so I do know this world quite well. So I'm just going to carry on, and then we'll have a bit of Paula, but bear with me for a bit. In a rare on the record statement, Meghan's spokesperson flat out denied a report in Page Six that she kept the green dress worth $1,700 without asking. The green dress subsequently appeared in a trailer for her forthcoming Netflix holiday special. The spokesperson told the Royalist that the Page Six story was defamatory and hinted at possible legal action after a fashion source alleged Meghan had taken the dress without permission. And this is their official statement. The insinuation that any items were taken without the full knowledge and agreement of the on-set stylists or their respective teams is not only categorically false, but also highly defamatory. Any items kept were done so in total transparency and in accordance with contractual arrangements, the spokesperson said. I mean, we're going to get into all of this. Like, nobody has a contract that says you can keep anything you touch at the shoot. Plus, obviously, contracts are like private. You can't publish, you can't produce a contract. So, you know, it's a fairly safe one. But then this is where it gets really weird, because then in a follow-up, a source in her camp told me that
Bring it. You got to do it, Tom. You got to do it. It gets even weirder.
They told me that she kept I have to say exactly where I am because I've had to lock the camera focus because of Snowden. They told me that she had kept the dress to prevent it from being sold on in an unauthorized auction because she had once worn it. They said this was standard practice for celebrities to keep select items. I don't know why they don't need to keep all of them. I mean, if you would have thought they'd have to either keep all or keep nothing, right? And they describe the practice as, get this, commonplace and prudent. Commonplace and prudent.
It's not.
They said this had been an issue for members of the royal family in the past, although I have to say I've been writing about the royal family for 2 decades, and I can tell you the exact number of stories that I've written about items of their clothing being resold online, and the number is 0. That's correct, Paula. It's 0. Yeah, I've never noticed a big market for, you know, secondhand items stained with regal sweat, but hey, why not? I checked with a lot of sources, photographers, stylists, editors. Nobody had ever heard this excuse before. One said to me she seems to be implying the stylist would steal and hawk the piece for a premium on eBay, or is she implying that the designer would? Another put it succinctly, insane. Another described it as absolutely hilarious, the excuse. And, you know, basically one person just said to me, it's pretty clear she just wanted the dress and kept it. I'm sure the designer agreed. How could they not? What's interesting is that she doesn't say she paid for it. From that, I think we can assume she didn't. That's the defense Catherine always has. Everything is paid for. I mean, Paula.
I got so much to say. Go on.
Can we start with this crazy claim that it's a contractual obligation that you can take whatever you want from a shoot?
Okay, so for everyone out there, I've been in this business for a long time, parts of it with Tom. I was also on air for Entertainment Tonight for many years, and people wanted to dress me. And you had to return everything, unless, of course, they were like, oh, not the stylist. The stylist really usually has no say. This is all about really the brand saying it's okay because it's theirs to give. It's not the stylist to give. Okay. So, for example, the dress that Katie Holmes went on her first date with Tom Cruise back in 2005, I actually wore that before her for an Entertainment Tonight shoot. It was a Dior dress, and hell yes, I had to give it back. Another thing is brands like Chanel don't normally gift those because that dress is probably $15,000. Now, a lot of times what these brands do is they will loan them out for shoots, but they also want them for their archives. There are not that many of these dresses. So it's not like Chanel made 800 of those midi dresses that she wore. No, she just wanted it. But it also goes back to Vanessa Gregoriadis, who I worked with in the past. You know her, Tom. She's a great journalist. And she works for the New York Times. She works for New York. I mean, she works for the New Yorker. I mean, who hasn't she worked for? She also works for New York Magazine, which owns The Cut, which is where Meghan had a fashion shoot with a Chanel dress that apparently wasn't returned. So, you know, Vanessa knows a lot. Anyway, Vanessa went on a podcast last year and basically said, you know, Meghan has this reputation for sticky fingers and she's been doing it again. And Vanessa actually said it was stealing. So, you know, in the podcast, which actually had the headline that said exclusive Meghan Markle stealing. You know, it was crazy. So really, if Meghan's people have a problem, they should go after the podcast then.
Yeah, although we want to make it clear that we are not accusing Meghan of stealing anything.
No, I personally never used the steal word. I quoted someone else using the steal word. However, at the same time, Vanessa made a very good point. She says, you know, Meghan wants to be seen as this charity person who's kind and generous and all this stuff when her actions are very diva and kind of money grubbing and grifting, because that's kind of what it is. You know, if you wear a dress and you don't pay for it, that's, you know, it can be seen as grifting, which is what Bill Simmons, her former boss at Spotify, accused her and Harry of being. So it's just, you know, here's again, we go to the dissonance of Meghan. She says she is this, and then her actions are this. It's just something very different. If you want it, lady, you live in, you've made 120 million so far. You live in a $14 million house. You live a crazy life, and you can afford these dresses. You know, people bitch and moan about Lauren Sanchez Bezos all the time, but there's a reason why she's invited to every single fashion event. It's because she pays for everything.
Right. And I mean, you know, these fashion houses, they need people to buy stuff. You know, they need rich people who live in $14 million houses to make contact with the dark and mysterious abyss known as their pocket and reach into it and withdraw a token of exchange, currently known as money, to pay for the objects, right? That they are doing. But also, like, I think the sort of the idea that you can just walk away, and this photo that I've got up on the screen, this is the dress that Vanessa was talking about in that podcast where she accused.
Well, no, we don't know what dress she was talking about. Let's be real clear.
Don't we?
She did not talk about which shoot. She said it's been happening again. And that she's been, and Vanessa used the word stealing. We are not. But she is, I would say that she would know a lot more what's going on at the cut than she would say Variety.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I just want to go through some of the craziness because it feels to me like this is quite peak Meghan. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's got a lot of the ingredients that we associate with Meghan, the kind of the entitlement, the kind of the overreach, the kind of, but I
gotta stop you right there because that's the exact word, Tom. It's the entitlement. It's the entitlement of, I wore it, it's mine. I did publicity for you, so it's mine. You know, when really the whole project, a photo shoot, is publicity for herself. And it's really, it's just tacky. Let's just be real clear. It's just tacky. You can afford it, pay for it. And just because you wore something doesn't mean it's yours. And just because you married somebody in the royal family, let's be real clear. You guys are not royal anymore. You never acted royal. And you really aren't acting royal now, but yet you still insist people announced you into a room, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. You're now like walking off with free clothes. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And then asking all of us to dip into our pockets for some slippy fruit spread and some champagne.
Okay, so we're going to enjoy this beautiful picture of Meghan here in her show. I hope you can see that, Paula. Paula, incredibly, because Paula's so cool and hip. She just does all this on her phone. I have it all set up here to you know, try and make me look good and all of that. Paula just whips out her phone and does it on her phone. So half the time she can't even see what we're talking about. But I believe from her excited voice, she can see this.
I can.
Oh, fantastic. Well, that is
Good job.
so exciting. So what I thought, okay, is really like she just has this ability to make up these stories, you know, that really invite the recollection may vary thing back into her life. That is also just so easy to disprove. Like to say that it is commonplace for celebrities to ask for garments from clothes, from shoots, because they are concerned that they're going to be stolen and used in, you know, and sort of implication that kind of ghouls are going to buy them online and try and sample. I don't know what it is, sort of freaky, weird people, and you know, disgusting people trying to exploit her, and it's just like.
It also, by the way, is demeaning to the magazine, to the stylist, to everyone involved to say, I can't trust you with this, or the brand, really. I can't trust you with this, so I'm going to just take it with me. I mean, let's be clear. You don't hear this about Jennifer Aniston. You don't hear this about Julia Roberts. You do not hear about this happening with the big star. You don't even hear it happening with the Kardashians, for Christ's sake. You know, it's just, it's ridiculous, and it insults our intelligence. And also, I think it shows her temper, because remember when she was like starting to be a part of the royal family back in the day, back in England, and would call it people like Victoria Beckham and be like, I want this, I want that. And Victoria Beckham, who knows the drill, basically had to kind of school her and say, hey, listen, this is how it's done. We don't give freebies. The royal family does not accept them. We do not loan. We do not do this. You have to buy them. And she got really angry. And that was the start of the erosion of the relationship with the Beckhams, or that Harry and Meghan's relationship with the Beckhams. And it's almost like now she's like, look, I can do it. See, it's fine. You guys are just, you know, lily livered lots. And it's just not cool, man. I mean, it's a Christmas season and she ain't giving, she taking.
Wow. Exactly. As you can tell, I haven't got my producer here, so Paula's going to remain massive for a bit while I try and bring myself back. Oh, there I am.
That's my nicotine pill in my mouth, by the way.
I think I'm back. Okay, so there's a bunch of other things that it reminds me of. Okay, there's the row about the tiara before the wedding.
What Meghan wants, Meghan gets.
What Meghan wants, Meghan gets. There was the alleged comment that I believe was denied by Meghan's side, that she apparently, after one royal engagement, said, I can't believe I'm not being paid for this. There were frequent stories in the early days that she got really annoyed that she wasn't allowed to keep stuff and that she had to send stuff back. And now Catherine has always been absolutely militant about sending stuff back. And if they don't send stuff back, they ring up the designer and they buy it. And I'm told that they also refuse to accept discounts. Now, that, I've got to say, if I was a member of the royal family, I might find that taking it a bit far. I might accept a discount. But you know, it is interesting that and I think this tiny little row, right, which frankly, again, you know, if I was their PR consultant, I would have said, do you know what, just ignore it. It's like, or just say, oh, she thought she was allowed to keep it, or what have you, or whatever, or don't say anything, just brief people on the background. Yeah, sorry, she thought she was allowed to keep it, we've sent it back, or whatever. I don't know, like whatever you say. Yeah, or but obviously what they have not, and they've learned their lesson in one way, that they haven't been able to say, what would diffuse this row would be to be able to say, we offered to pay for it. I loved the dress so much. I offered to pay for it. I asked if I could buy it, and the designer said I could keep it. Right? That's that if that had been the sequence of events, I think we would know that had been the sequence of events. But it clearly wasn't the sequence of events. And they have now been forced into this ridiculous argument. They've had to concede that she kept it. They sort of have conceded that she didn't pay for it because, by omitting any claim that she did. And they've now been forced into this torturous argument that it was done to sort of protect her privacy or the privacy of her clothes or to prevent her fans being exploited, and that this is really normal when it's not. And it's like, it's not very hard for journalists to ring up other journalists who work in fashion and ask them, is this normal? And for them to give the reply that one person said to me, a very senior stylist, insane. That's what that person said.
Well, the other thing, Tom, is that if she's so worried about her DNA and people selling her stuff on clothes, then she must have taken the entire fashion shoot. And then she must have taken all of the clothes from Harper's Bazaar. And she must have taken all of the clothes from every single shoot she's ever been on, which we know that didn't happen, because if that had happened in the past, people simply would not loan clothes to anyone on a shoot. And
exactly. And Paula, if I can just come in there for a moment. And we, by the way, I want to say that me and Paula have both been reading your comments, and we are trying so hard not to talk over each other, but we're both very excitable people. So thank you for bearing with us. But sorry, so that thing you just mentioned about how, you know, A, no one would lend the clothes, and B, you couldn't possibly take everything because, you know, A, and also, like, who wants to take all this shit away from a shoot? Like, why do you want to take a load of old clothes away from a suit? Don't you want to, like, go out for dinner with your mates or something? I don't know. Anyway, that's a side issue.
By the way, clothes that have been worn by a bunch of other people before.
Right, they've been worn by a bunch of other people before you. I mean, it's like, they don't smell good, those clothes. Like, the worst smelling room in any magazine is the fashion closet, and I'm not lying. But the point that I was trying to make was that I had my sister Plum Sykes, who's a well-known fashion journalist, on the show earlier in the week talking about Meghan's shoot in Harper's Bazaar. And the point that Plum made is that getting the jacket from Dior, which is some famous bar jacket or something, and it's like modeled on something Wallace Simpson wore, you guys know this much better than me, that in itself is like a bit of a coup, a bit of a scoop, like having the first look of this new iteration of this famous jacket on the cover is like a big get. And it was literally, according to Plum, sent to Gwyneth Paltrow for a shoot the next day, which is apparently out somewhere else. So I'm like, so as you say, this idea that it's in some way to protect the fans, or it's to protect your DNA, or it's to protect, I don't know what it is. It's because you think people are weird, freaky ghouls who want to buy your shit online. Like, it's like, it's nonsense. And it's like all these arguments, like the moment you just give them a cursory run through logic, I mean, like, you could put that argument into ChatGPT and say, is this argument logical? And it would say no.
Well, the other thing is, you know what it kind of reminded me of? Like her, like, oh, and then people have my DNA and they'll have my clothes and they'll sell them online. It reminded me of one time I was in the subway, and, you know, I got long blonde hair. I was sitting there, and I was on the subway, and this homeless guy came up to me and he pulled a strand of hair off me and he goes, I have your DNA. And I looked at him, I said, look at you, CSI. Good job, you. And then he ran away with my hair. And I was like, oh, I like that. That's called initiative. But I just, this stuff is just, every excuse can be popped. You know, it's like, and the problem is it happens so often in every area of her life. You know, the excuse of, oh no, the first look deal with Netflix is actually beneficial and great. It's not, you know. Oh, you know, I didn't want to do Spotify. We're doing Lemonada Media now because it's women run. It's, oh, I don't want to do that anymore because, you know, I've got to focus on my, there's one after the other. It kind of reminds me of, like, I once told someone they were lying to me again, and I finally looked at them. I said, you know, I'm not your mama. I don't have to believe your lies.
Yeah.
We're good.
Mm. I think it's really interesting you say that, Paula. It really reminds me of this comment that Tina Brown made, where she said that actually what would be the most fantastic reality show would be if Meghan actually let us in on her life. If she actually let us in on her life, going, why the hell can't someone get me a half decent project? You're useless. Fetch me another smoothie. Harry, like, go and
get off the sofa.
Get off the PlayStation. You know, I mean, that would be a show that we would want to watch, right? I mean, that would be a show. But instead, they're just always trying to sort of sanitize everything, to kind of, you know, to talk everything through. And it's like, this very much has the imprint that it's like Meghan wrote the press release or something. I mean, it's mental. Imagine having to put this stuff out. Imagine, you know, Meredith Mays. I mean, God bless her. But imagine having to put out this stuff. Like, it's just embarrassing. I mean, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
It also
and the idea, like, it's just the most ludicrous excuse I've ever seen for walking off a set with a piece of clothing that you wanted. And clearly it wasn't done because it was to prevent people selling it. It was done because she liked the piece of clothing. And we can see that because she wore it again in a very high profile Netflix trailer.
Well, and she's done it again and again, not just with that dress, not just with the Chanel dress, you know, the Aquazzura shoes from Toronto that ended up in her engagement pictures. You know, it's just kind of a habit. And you know, the thing that strikes me is that after a while, you know, you just kind of like, I don't believe you anymore. And that's the biggest problem. You know, for a woman who talks about authenticity so much, she's kind of turned into Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, what next? Okay, what next? You know, and also these are self-inflicted wounds, Tom. These are not anything that anyone else did except for Meghan to Meghan. It's a Meghan on Meghan crime, really.
Yeah, it is.
And
it's friendly fire. That's a very good point, Paula. It's friendly fire.
People have tried to stop her, but she doesn't want to hear it. It's just, nope, these are not the rules I learned of media manipulation in Toronto. You know, I mean, again, you know, come on, girl. I was just at a dinner with a guy who was also on set with her in Toronto for another shoot. And he was saying she was just this huge diva. That was a big campaign for Suits, and they had put the cast up in the Four Seasons in Toronto. Okay, even though it was like 2 blocks from the set, you know, they offered the people, and everyone lived in Toronto. They just said, let's do it. It's a 2-day thing. It's close to the set. And they offered everyone cars. And Meghan's the one who was like, I want my car. She also insisted on her own room. They didn't have a private dressing room, so they had to basically build walls for her. And it was just like, wow, that's, you know, it's a sense of entitlement that she seems to have had for a very long time. And now is kind of out of control. And, you know, go with God. It really reminded me after the Kardashian birthday. A couple days later, Lauren Sanchez had on her Instagram invitation. She was obviously invited to a Dior dinner. It was super beautiful, super classy. And you're like, that's the dinner that Meghan would have loved to have gone to, but she doesn't pay for those clothes. And they're also, these kind of high-end brands are also understanding her reputation right now. And it's not good. They don't want to be associated with that.
So, okay, this is another bit of this is the bit of the statement that I find extraordinary. This is the on the record statement. Any items kept, very interesting choice of word, any items kept were done so in total transparency and in accordance with contractual arrangements. Like, okay, now that is just another, it's like you're tying yourself in knots. You are tying yourself in knots to saying this was perfectly okay. and it's this thing that I think that, you know, we see a lot, not just from Meghan. We also see it from the royal family. We see it from lots of celebrities of trying to whitewash and gaslight and trying to convince us that the thing that we see with our own eyes, right, which is that Meghan is wearing the same dress here as she was wearing there. She's taken the dress for free from there and she is now using it here. We're asked to believe that we're not believing the evidence of our own eyes, you know, that we've imagined it and that actually this is perfectly normal behavior. And it is not normal behavior. And the weird thing is that people sometimes think, you know, like normalers, as I have friends who call them, who end up on a fashion shoot, sometimes think that they are going to be able to take stuff away. And you know what, when it hits them that all they're getting is a sandwich and a Diet Coke, you know, most of them accept it, right? A few of them try and sneak something out, you know, and sometimes they get away with it and things do go missing on shoots, you know. So there's a sort of latitude to, you know, people accept that occasionally things go missing. But I mean, I remember years ago when I worked for GQ, organizing a shoot of some Paul Smith watches, and one of the watches went missing. I mean, I nearly lost my job. Yeah. You know, it was mental. It was absolutely mental. They weren't even real. They were fake. They weren't fake, but they were mock-ups. You know, they were samples, right? They were samples. And like, obviously, Paul Smith didn't want them going missing because he needed them for another shoot, you know?
Well, that's a really good point that you made there, Tom. And it's also about really high-end brands don't gift like that. And if they gift like that, it is for a very specific reason. You're sitting front row at my show. You are doing this. You are, you know, like it is they have very strong and smart branding and brand marketers. So they know if I'm going to gift this to you, then it goes here and you work with the brand. The problem with the stylist is, and by the way, I would love to see that contract. You know, if Meghan likes something, she can have it. Because right. I have never heard of Chanel
Clause 3. Clause 3. If Meghan takes a liking to anything,
Chanel
she may shove it into her handbag.
Do that. Yeah. It's bonkers, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, to be fair, you have lower rated brands. Like, do I think Galvin might have been like, oh, fine. Oh, God. You know, maybe because Galvin is not a household name, you know, but the really high-end brands, no.
Yeah. But also, like, what I feel about the Galvin thing, like, as you say, it's not a particularly high-end brand. I mean, like in the grand scheme of the stuff that Meghan often wears, it's obviously not very expensive. I mean, $1,700 is more than I'm going to spend on a dress. But
ditto.
But you know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility for me to imagine my friends buying a dress for $1,700 that they really, really love. Do you know what I mean? It's not like. But also what I'm more than the price, what I'm actually trying to say is I think that it's not a very powerful brand. And I think that this feels a bit like someone using their power to try and sort of intimidate or bully the brand into giving them the thing. Do you know what I mean? There's something a bit distasteful about it. Like, I'm the big star and Meghan gets what Meghan wants. You know, Meghan...
100%. And it feeds into the actual storyline as opposed to her fictional storyline. You know, it's like, here's fiction, here's biography. In the actual biography, here are all these instances of bullying. In the fictional book, it's, I was so kind, I was so loving, and they were horrible to me. You know, and you're just like, dude, I knew a chick like you back in high school and I ran like the devil. You know?
I know, it's incredible. And the bullying thing is, and I think that's absolutely, I think that's a really, really shrewd observation, Paula, that it feels a bit like just trying to use your weight, trying to use your muscle. And of course, when Meghan was working for the royal for the royals when she was a member of the working royal family. Jason Knauf, who was her publicist, but kind of reported up the chain to William and now still works for William, wrote a letter to their Simon Case, who was the sort of ultimate head, and said that he was, I think, very concerned about Meghan. She was always trying to bully. She had bullied somebody out of their job. That
Several
she
people
to have someone in their sights. And he wanted to know what do we actually do about this? And you can tell that he clearly realized that it was an HR problem, and that ultimately someone was going to complain, right? And they were going to say, well, I was screamed at, or whatever happened, and I was reduced to tears, or I was humiliated, or whatever. And we know from one of the PAs who's often thought to have been associated with it. We know that she said that she's told friends that she was reduced to tears and all this kind of thing. And you really don't have to go very far amongst Meghan's former employees to find people who say they were treated badly, or people who said they left jobs that they'd expected to be jobs for life when she appeared on the scene. And I know people who work for Harry, military equerries and stuff like that, who worked for Harry, who just felt that they couldn't really carry on when she came on the scene. And I don't know, are we expected to believe that this was to save her fans from being rinsed by unscrupulous people?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Although I will tell you, the one reading I really want, and I wish that they would release, is the official royal inquest into the bullying behavior, which of course they glided over. They're like, we looked into it, it's fine. Next. What? Oh, look, Princess or Queen Elizabeth died. But, oh, look, someone's got cancer. But don't ask for it. And unfortunately, the royal family is not like in the States. You can't actually do a FOIA request for the actual inquest into the behavior and what everyone said. But, I just think at the end of the day, Tom, it's just tacky. It's just kind of grubby. And, if that's how you want to behave, that's cool. But don't pretend you're someone else. Yeah. And again, going back to a $1,700 dress, which, I also know people who would buy it without thinking or worrying about their bank account. But she can afford a $1,700 dress quite easily. And also, if you're going to support a brand, the number one way to do it is to pay for something.
Yeah. And also, Paula, look at the reputational cost of cheapskating that $1,700, which frankly, I know no one likes paying for anything, right? It's always nice to get stuff free, but the saving of $1,700 versus the reputational risk, the reputational cost. Now this big mess that they've got to clean up. That whole Kardashian thing, right? Which her team totally tried to brush off. Oh, it's nothing. Don't be so ridiculous. Don't focus on this. It's it is something, man. They are the most powerful family in the entertainment complex.
You're talking about the Kardashians, not Harry and Meghan. I just wanted to clear that up.
Yeah. Very good
because
point.
Harry and Meghan wish they were the most powerful.
They wish, Paula. They wish. But Paula, the thing is that I want to ask you. So, I mean, could you just talk for a bit about what is the impact of something like this on the value of your brand? And when you look at that paltry $1,700 saving, surely the cost of just the PR cost of cleaning this up alone is got to way dwarf that. And the impact on goodwill for your brand, on your reputation, and it couldn't really come at a worse time, could it? When they've been accused of lying and all this stuff over the past.
Also, she's got her jams to sell for Thanksgiving, and she is trying to be like, here's what we do. Here's my beautiful spread for Thanksgiving. Here's a parfait spread. First of all, we're in America. Most people don't call it a parfait spread. They're like, make some yogurt. But also here it's in a thin glass thin stemmed glass, and she's like, "This is great for children." You're like, "Said no parent ever, dude. What is wrong with you? Just put it in some plastic bowls and be like, they use the bowls like everyone else. You know, this is not a reception at the Four Seasons. All right, it's just."
I want to talk about that breakfast spread for a minute. If none of you know what we're talking about, we're not going to show the clip because it has all this music on it. I'm pretending it's because it has the music on it, really, because it's because Ben's not here. So I don't know how to get it. So you have to watch it on Instagram. But if you watch it on Instagram, this has every clip, which goes, I'm just going to throw together a casual little breakfast for the holidays, right? And it's like, first
nothing
of all,
could be
like
less casual.
Debacle of washing up. It's.
I mean, she doesn't care about washing up. She got people to do that. But the other thing is
not somebody who is doing their own washing up.
She also messed up the bagel spread. It's like, here's just some cream cheese, and we're going to put some dead flowers on them, and then we're going to also put sliced fruit, and you're like, what the hell is going on, man? Like, this is nuts. What if I want salmon with my bagel? I don't want your weird ass raspberry on it. You know, there's nothing authentic about her. She screams about it constantly, authenticity. And you're just like, man, I don't know. I think you're authentically trying to be a character that you wrote in your mind, and you're upset and furious that people aren't seeing it. But here's the problem, Tom. It's real hard to fake shit on TV. People say, yes, it is, but no, it is real hard to fake it. I remember like when Katie Couric, the last 2 years of her hosting the Today Show, and she was miserable. Yeah. And you could smell it coming off the TV screen. Yeah. And the ratings went down, and she also tried to say inauthentic shit like $300 for a skirt. Who would pay that? And you're like, we all read about your $60 million contract, crazy lady. But it's real hard to actually appear as someone that you are not. And also, I think it shows that Meghan's just a spectacularly bad actress. But anyone who's watched Suits, I'm sure would agree with me. And if you don't, who cares? But it's just nuts, dude. It's like,
okay, Paula, right. Can I ask you something? What I think is really weird is that she fakes it in both directions, though, right? Because on one hand, she fakes being this super elegant, super mega rich Balenciaga front row, all of that. When we find out, actually, she rang the guy up and asked if she could come.
And also, by the way, got those clothes for free.
And doesn't buy the clothes.
$50,000 outfit free, and then the other $50,000 outfit free. Go on.
That exactly, like, so she sort of fakes being a rich person, and then she also fakes being a normal person, and so you're left with this really weird situation. Anyway, back to the crazy breakfast before we leave the crazy breakfast. So please, if you have a moment, watch the As Ever clip. There's a 20% site-wide sale on As Ever. So I want my advertising dollars, please, As Ever.
Are you getting a skim fee on this one? Did you do a skim link on As Ever?
I could put an affiliate marketing link for As Ever on my YouTube channel. I think I probably could. I'm going to find out if I could do it. That would be really cool. If I was getting like $1 every time. Yeah. So yeah, it's 20% off on As Ever over up to Thanksgiving. And I'm totally distracted. What was I keep trying to say about the big breakfast? A, she's clearly not a woman doing her own washing up, right? That's number one. B, it's like probably $700 worth of fruit, right? And C, the quiche, right? So she goes, the other thing that's really great for breakfast. And who's that amazing guy who does the impressions of her? I've forgotten his name.
The guy with the puppets?
The really famous one with the black hair that's all over Instagram and TikTok. He's so great. Someone in comments will know who it is. He could do this so well because she goes, the TikTok guy. I can't remember what it's called. He's so funny. Somebody put his name in. I'll put you up on screen. Anyway, she goes, what I think is a really good thing for breakfast is just to make a quick quiche. You can just make a quick quiche and you can put it in the oven, or you can buy one from the store and you can just leave a lovely little handwritten note that says quiche in the oven, help yourself. you know, and I'm just like, what kind of breakfast is this? Am I having fruit? Am I having yogurt? Am I having quiche? Do I have to do it myself? Is it all there on the table? Like, I'm so confused. Is this breakfast? Is it lunch? Is it brunch? I don't know what's going on. Michael Pavano, that's what he's called. He's absolutely brilliant. They're so funny. They're so funny because they're so
spot on, really.
They're so spot
she's
on.
Always like,
yeah.
Look at that. Where's my lid? Oh. But the other thing is,
I've never seen the one with Harry waiting for his steak.
Yeah,
Harry.
Like Montecito's resident Earth mother, who's been like, I cook everything from scratch for my little babies, you know, and she's literally being like, no, just for the rest of you poor folks. Done.
Now, I've got to apologize for my terrible accent here. This is an issue that lots of people have said. Can we have closed captions? My ear doesn't quite pick up the accents. Many thanks. I think, as I understand it, at the lowly level of YouTubing that I am, you can't. But I think if I get bigger, they will give me closed captions for life. I think everybody can get closed captions on the replay, but I can't get them. And I do apologize. But I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. And Paula, when I used to go out with her and our other friend Chris Wilson just used to spend the whole night going, dude, I can't even understand what you're saying.
Well, you know what's so fucked up? The older I get, Tom, the less I can understand accents. I'm like, in my 20s and 30s, I was like, okay, so this is what he's saying. Whereas now I'm just like, yeah, just nod along. It's cool.
Oh my God, Paula, it's so much fun being here with you. Well, it's an incredible story. It was first broken by Paula Froelich on her incredible NewsNation. She is a star. She is like a bloodhound. She gives you the impression that she's just some cool New York chick who's, you know, blah, blah, blah. But actually, she's a total bloodhound. You do not want Paula Froelich on your case. I can tell you that. Thanks very much, everybody, for watching. With that, we will say goodbye and we will leave you to go and make your own yogurt parfait. Goodbye.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm not going to say that because it's not authentic coming from me because I don't even know what Thanksgiving is. Like,
that's
what is
bullshit.
it?
You had plenty of Thanksgivings in the States, and your sister still lives here. So come on.
It seemed to be, as far as I could tell, it seemed to be a festival of shopping. It seemed to do something
it's a festival of eating. It's a festival of eating and stuffing yourself, drinking and watching football. It is what America is about.
No, it is. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And on a serious note, we are incredibly grateful to you for coming and watching. I think like 1,200 people watching these things live now, which is just incredibly flattering. And please like and subscribe and help keep me and Paula in a crust of bread over the Thanksgiving times. And yeah,
but you can also follow me on Instagram at PFro.
And yeah, and if Ben was here, there would be a thing now on here going at PFro on Instagram. But there's not. So at PFro on Instagram. And it is a very, very funny Instagram account. I have to say it is absolutely hilarious because Paula finds really funny. I don't know. You kind of like finding a news story, finding someone with a good angle on it, don't you? You're a bit of a news junkie, Paula, aren't you?
I'm on the weirdo algorithm for my stories. So yeah. Anyway, love you guys.